Postman of Hollow Bridge. Hollow Bridge was a village most travelers missed, not because it was small, but because the road bent away from it, as though guided by an old, unspoken instinct. The map showed it certainly, but anyone who tried to reach it found themselves wandering a little off course, lest they were expected. Mist lived permanently along the riverbank, where the ancient stone bridge arched like the spine of some slumbering beast. The fog curled through the streets, wrapped itself around the crooked chimneys, and whispered down alleyways like a ghost with soft footsteps. Lanterns glowed amber through it, their light trembling as though touched by unseen fingers. And always at dawn, the postman arrived. Nobody knew where he came from. No horse pulled his cart. No footsteps echoed before his. Yet as the mist thinned in that blue-gray hour when night gives way unwillingly to day, there he was, tall, coat buttoned to the throat, and shadowing eyes that flickered like candlelight behind frosted glass. His leather satchel bulged with letters that never bore stamps, yet always found their rightful recipients. They called him Bram. They never asked for a surname. Bram was Bram, ageless, tireless, moving with the quiet grace of someone who had walked the same roads far longer than any village tale dared remember. It was on a rain-heavy morning when Lark Benton first saw him. She had come to Hollowbridge to escape the noise of the city, the heartbreak she didn't want to name, and the ache of a life that suddenly felt too tight in her chest. Her aunt's old cottage sat at the edge of the village, where willow branches touched the river as if whispering secrets downward. Lark woke before sunrise, restless. A storm hovered in the sky, the kind that bruises the horizon purple and gold. She stepped outside, expecting only silence. Instead, the mist parted like a curtain, and Bram walked across the bridge. For a moment, she thought he might be a dream, something shaped by the fog in her tired mind. His coat rippled around him in the breeze, and every droplet of rain clung to the air instead of falling upon him, as if the weather itself respected his passing. His eyes, she noticed them then, were not one color, but many, shifting shades of gray, silver blue like stormlight trapped in motion. He paused, looked directly at her, as though he had been searching. Without a word, Bram reached into his satchel and withdrew an envelope, pale cream, sealed with a dark blue wax crest she didn't recognize. He held it out. "For me?" she asked, voice barely above a breath. He nodded once. Her fingers brushed his as she took it. His skin felt warm, impossibly warm for someone who seemed woven of dawn, chill, and drifting fog. When she looked down at the envelope, her heart stuttered. The handwriting was unmistakable, looping, gentle, and achingly familiar. "Lark, my little wildflower. If you're reading this, then I'm already gone." It was her aunt's script, but her aunt had passed away 6 months earlier. Lark stared at Bram, questions crowding her throat. Yet the postman simply tipped his cap, an old-fashioned gesture, and turned away, vanishing into the thickening mist as though swallowed by it. She called out after him. He didn't look back. Back inside the cottage, candlelight trembling, she broke the seal with shaking hands. The letter carried the scent of lavender, her aunt's perfume, and the words inside felt like a voice pressed against her ear. Her aunt wrote of Hollow Bridge, of the secrets that lived beneath its stones, of a promise she had made long ago to a postman who walked between worlds. "There are letters," the final line read, "that must be delivered by those who know the way. Should he find you, trust him." Lark finished reading with tears hot on her cheeks. The next morning, Bram returned. This time, when he saw her waiting at the bridge, something softened in his expression. "There will be more?" she asked. "Yes." "How many?" "As many as you need." The days unfolded with a strange, gentle rhythm. Each morning, Bram delivered letters from her aunt, messages she could not have written in life. Messages about healing, forgiveness, courage, and the kind of love that outlives breath. Lark felt herself mending with each one, piece by piece, line by line. But the more she spoke with Bram, the more she noticed details she hadn't before. The way the mist parted around him. How the river's reflection never held his shape. How he seemed to understand her grief without a single explanation. "Who are you?" she asked one dawn, voice trembling with curiosity and something warmer. He hesitated. "A bridge," he said at last. "Between what was what still hopes to be. And yet, despite his distance, despite the veil he lived behind, Lark felt herself drawn to him. Drawn to his quiet compassion, the soft thunder of his voice. The way he looked at her as though she were something bright after a lifetime of dimming skies. One morning, when the first blush of sunrise warmed the mist, Bram handed her the thinnest letter yet. She broke the seal. This will be the last one, her aunt had written. You're ready now, and so is he. When Lark looked up, Bram's throat worked as though he, too, were swallowing something difficult. I won't see you again, will I? She whispered. The mist thickened around his coat hem, tugging gently, like hands calling him home. Not in this form, he murmured. But Hollow Bridge remembers those who heal it. And so do I. Before she could speak, he stepped back and his outline shimmered, blurred. Dissolved into the fog as though he were made of dawnlight itself. The mist carried him across the river, swallowing him into the unseen. Lark pressed the final letter to her chest. Though Hollow Bridge would always be quiet, always shrouded, always touched by mystery, she no longer felt afraid. A soft warmth moved through the air, stirring her hair like a familiar hand. Somewhere unseen, a lantern flickered. A bridge hummed. A postman walked on,